extra time.
Yeah, I love bowling with two spinners. It's the T20 World Cup coming up. Yeah, I think it's going to be. It's been mentioned. I think at the start of the home summer, where we're really looking at our game plan and how we maybe go about playing two spinners in the World Cup. So yeah, I like doing it for Australia. I love doing it. I love playing with two wrist spinners. I love playing with Sandeep at the Stars. Any team that I've ever played with two spinners in, I definitely enjoy having that little bit of not just being the only spinner in the team. It's Quick's batsman and then the one lone spinner. I definitely prefer if there's two in the team.
Might just do two more guys.
Didn't have a look. Sorry.
Just a third two here. The partnership was good to you, Dave, the other night. Have you heard of an Indian crowd so quiet?
I don't know. Were they quiet the other night?
I don't know what it seemed like that was compared to the first innings. It's nothing.
Yeah, it can be a pretty hostile place to play sometimes. It's definitely the roars. Some of the roars that you hear out in Indian, like when Virat comes out for the warm up, it's ridiculous. Or like last year when MS would walk out, or even just walk out of the door to the veranda or something, the roars were unbelievable. Yeah, it was quite quiet the other night. I think it was a pretty dominating performance. We speak about trying to minimise the crowd effect, keeping them out of the game as well, because obviously having that behind you helps. So yeah, the other night it definitely helped us.
Last one over the back.
Sorry, what's? I think I've mentioned that already.
He's covered that off.
I've covered that, yeah.
Virat Kohli Mumbai recently said that you were more confident than other bowlers with the last series we played here and which you won 3-2. So how big is that confidence from somebody like Virat Kohli? You said that but it's tough not to that. Now we are 1-0 up in the series. Are you guys thinking of a rare feat of achieving back-to-back series wins in India? It's a very rare thing which India opposition achieves.
Yeah, I suppose to answer your questions, yeah, it's a big compliment from Virat, that's for sure. I think from like a personal point of view, I'm not the most skillful leg spinner in the world, that's for sure. You know, guys like Kuldeep Yadav and Rashid Khan, they're guys that are basically really hard to pick and have beautiful skill. I think one of the most important things that I've always tried to do is have strong character. Yeah, so I think to be a wrist spinner in one-day cricket in the middle overs is not easy at all. It's probably one of the hardest formats, at least in T20 cricket. You've got 5 blokes out the whole time. You know that guys are going to attack you. That's fine, but one-day cricket's a whole different beast. So, yeah, from my point of view, character's important. And yeah, we've spoken about the series and how important this series is, particularly after disappointing end to the World Cup. And we've spoken about how important it is just to move on from that, and that we can achieve something pretty special here. We played really well those last 3 ODIs in February. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal if we can get 2 away series wins in a row in India. It's a pretty amazing feat. So we have spoken about that briefly.
Now it's Ashton Agard, you have his T20 experience as well. What's the difference bowling Gaz to Ashton?
Very similar. I think the way that I bowled with Gaz last year very much played a holding role. I think the roles are reversing a little bit with Ashton in terms of the fact that, as you saw the other day, he bowled probably later in the innings, where last year that was me. It might swap around depending on the situations and things like that. But yeah, one of us will play that holding role for sure, and then with playing two spinners, someone's going to have to bowl quite deep in the innings, so one of us is going to have to play that role as well. But both really good guys to bowl with. I think just playing with two spinners, it's really important to communicate the conditions and communicate plans and little things like that.
Speak up.
So far, I don't know, you have dismissed Virat Kohli, I think 6 times, if I'm not wrong. So when you want to someone like Virat Kohli, what's your frame of mind and approach?
It's got to be an attacking approach. I think if you're on the back foot and you have a defensive mindset, then that's when he can get on top of you. But I think the most important thing playing in places like India against these guys is having a little bit of character. You probably know that you're going to get hit for boundaries, but it can really get worse if you make that affect you, I guess. So Virat, I've got him a few times now, but in saying that, I don't think there's anything in it. I think he still scores at over 100 strike rate against me, well over 100. So yeah, he's a very hard guy to bowl to. But yeah, I've had a couple of occasions where I've dismissed him, and yeah, and luckily the other day I think it was one of those ones where you bowl a bad ball to him, he can get on top of you, but if you let that affect you, it gets on top of you even more. So yeah, he's one of the toughest guys I've ever had to bowl to. You know that, particularly after game 1, game 2 coming up tomorrow, I think he's going to be even more switched on. So it's a big challenge.
Just on confidence and character, Fiji last year was at the separated ball and Kohli has come up to that. Does that give you the confidence to try and do something different? So are you kind of throwing caution to the wind against Kohli knowing that Fiji's back? Are you looking to try variation and speed changes and stuff like that?
I think it's basically we just find that Virat finds leg spinners hard to line up early in his innings, to be honest. He's such a great starter. You even saw the other day, 16 or 14 or whatever it was, how much energy he brought to the crease. He's running between the wickets. Some of the cover drives he played off the quicks. I think it's important just to try and have a game plan to him. So yeah, we figured out that last game we thought that it would be good to start with leg spin to him. So it might be different next game, but yeah, as it's been mentioned, I've got him out 4 times in the last year or so. So it's nice to have that confidence to be able to start, to bowl to him at the start of his innings, I guess. Yeah.
India is obviously known traditionally player for spinners, but they're also much smaller grounds compared to back home for you and tackle the case. So do you ever get mixed feelings before a tour to India?
Yeah, this is my 3rd tour now, and the 2 previous have gone literally the total opposite ways. We had a really good series last year, and then the one before that we had an absolute meltdown. So yeah, I think just not putting too much pressure on yourself. You know that you're expected to perform well here, but I think you see with a lot of the scores throughout India, particularly at the small grounds like Mumbai and Bangalore, they're quite high scoring. You know you're going to get hit to the fence sometimes. It's just about simplifying it, playing your role. I know my role really well in this team, so yeah, I know what I've got to do. If it doesn't pay off that day, then it doesn't pay off that day, but it's just trying to really simplify things. No, I don't think that's a true statement. I think, as you mentioned earlier, Virat said that I was one of the bowlers last year that had great character for us, so I don't think he doesn't respect me. So, yeah, I don't know if that's true. I just think, yeah, no, I don't think that's correct.
Hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on Extra Time.